Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of Ron's Crypto Therapy. And I appreciate everybody who checked out my first video, which was more of like a compilation of calls and trades I made since the last bull market high. I think it's fair to say I made a little bit of a name for myself on Telegram and private groups and stuff like that, saying things that weren't very popular at the time, and then a week or two later ended up being true and started to get some people's attention. I've been saying I was gonna make a YouTube channel for a while, and I'm finally doing that. So anyway, I'd like to cover BTC. I've had a lot of success trading BTC and Omi, and so I will still look at Omi some. I know there's still some interest out there in it, and I'm also going to cover IMX, BNB, and Gala because I've done well at trading those during the bear market. So I'll show you guys what I've done and what I've been looking at there. The next video I'm gonna go because I go on these streaks, and a lot of people can vouch for this, where I go like 10 Bitcoin trades in a row, 12. I went 21 one time. On the next video I'm gonna show you, because I actually use the same strategy for that every time when I go on those runs. So anyway, today we're just gonna look at Bitcoin and Omi. We will look at Omi real quick. I know there's some interest out there in it, a lot of speculation, and there are still a lot of people still interested in it. So if we look at Bitcoin here on the daily, and one reason I'm so in tune with Bitcoin, I mean, it's not a secret. I feel like if you can tell what Bitcoin is trying to do, then you can, the rest of the market should follow. So over the last, since the beginning of the year or so, we've been in a pretty decent uptrend, and we're going to do a top-down analysis here, looking at the weekly, starting at the weekly anyway. So I'm just going to talk about like the overall general direction that or what we might could see. This isn't, the hourly, this doesn't relate to that, or the 15-minute. I'm not saying based off what I'm saying go and it's about to go up or down right this second. And like everyone on YouTube says, this isn't financial advice. It's just things that I'm doing and that I see. So we've had a nice move up. And one thing that I look at a lot in markets is gaps, and I'll mention that a lot in videos. And gaps, you hear a lot of different terms with gaps, and CME gaps and all these different things, and just try to keep it simple as possible. A gap is anything where there's a gap in price. Like this wick down here and here, it left a gap. It did not fill these wicks did not come all the way down, and that's generally like a bullish thing. Like it did not come down and fill this because there were eager buyers that set their orders higher than that gap because they wanted to make sure that they got in. That's the psychology behind it. So, and there's a few things as well. We still have this this head and shoulders, this inverse head and shoulders here. Let's see, we draw like the neckline, like something like that, and the projected move. If the bulls can have this pattern play all the way out from there, and that puts us at 45,000. But we'll come back to that. So for right now, here's what I could potentially see happening, and I feel like I'm at my best trading when I'm projecting out what the next leg is about to do. So this kind of what this looks like to me is a falling wedge, like could be a falling wedge bull flag. So what that could potentially look like is, and a wedge, the important thing is that you get 3 pushes down. The more like a wedge it looks like, then yes, the better it is. The more people are going to trade off of it. But bots, they're just looking for really 3 pushes down. So yeah, so that's the main thing that we want to look at here. So we're getting the second push down now. So we got this wick, it did not come back down. We're not getting any kind of pullback. I mean, right now it's like a bear doji, but based off this little gap, we didn't fill that up. Let's say we go up a little more, a lower high, and then come down. Maybe we fill that gap here then, and maybe even a little lower, and get a nice falling wedge. Another thing that I see on the chart is this trend line. If we take it looks like about right there to that, off that wick. Okay, yep. So we might get this falling wedge coming down into this trend line, and that adds some confluence. And at that point, price is going to go down, so the moving averages are going to go down a little bit, and maybe we could get a bounce off the 200-day as well, which right here you can see it really sprung off the 200-day. Well, these EMAs I have on the chart, the green is the 200-day moving average. The yellow is just the 20-period moving average for whatever time frame I'm looking at. And the blue is the 50-day. The 50-day I normally don't keep up there, but when we go to the daily, then I'll show why I have it up there currently. And, you know, there is no magical EMA. There's no such thing as that. The 20 period is a very good one to use as a reference of what like the average price is. The 200-day is good as well for like a bigger, you know, view. That's so on the weekly, that would be like the last, well, any time frame. The 200-day would be like the last 6 months of price action, the average price. So, and it does tend to act as a price magnet lots of times, but there's no magical EMA, and lots of different EMAs work different on different assets. Matter of fact, something John taught me was that lots of like most projects, like in the early start, there's some whale or two that get in, and they're traders as well. They're whales and traders, and they have a certain EMA they look at, or a certain way of trading, a certain style or whatever, and they kind of set the path from the start of that asset, and other traders pick up on their patterns and just continue doing that. But anyway, it's fun sometimes to just pick an asset and play with different EMAs and SMAs and see what's being respected. You'll be surprised. So anyway, not to get too much off topic. So I could see that potentially playing out, that we trend down for a little bit. Let's see what this project out to, you know, say maybe sometime early June, late May, something like that. So let's take a look at the daily. And I'll just erase this. All right, so we have this head and shoulders here, and everyone, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. It's like the main pattern people first learn when they start trading or whatever. So I would say the neckline is something like that. So say that bears can get this head and shoulders to play out and it's true to its value, then that would give us something like, you know, depending on where you put it, here. In any event, you see it's right in the neighborhood of that trend line. And you know what you could also call this now is that was the breakout of the head and shoulders, and now we came up and we tested the headline, the neckline, wick off of it, bear follow through, one more bull attempt up, and then you know, as of today so far anyway, engulfing. You know, the daily close is still you know, a few hours away, 3 hours I think. But if this body, you know, they still got little ways to go to even get above that body. I mean, this is an outside bar, almost an outside bar. It looks like this, the high of the candle didn't quite take the high of that out. But in any event, that's kind of bearish price action. And, you know, anything can happen at the end of the day. But I could kind of see this playing out, that this head and shoulders does play out. We come down here, you know, it could find support here at these wicks, the 25K. It could come down to the 200-day. This whole full pattern of head and shoulders could play out and could come down and touch this trend line. You know, trend lines are like soft zones. So if I was going off the trend line, I would do it with a limit order. I would set a limit order down here and hope that I caught a wick that came down here. That would probably be the best way to trade that. Now, the problem with limit orders is you set an order here and then it's like a big dump candle and goes down, you know, and that can certainly happen. So a potential place maybe for a stop loss if you did that is over here under this low, because if you put it under here, that's really low. Or, you know, here, something like that. Or you could just even set it as like a 2-to-1 and just like a measured move type target. So there's a few different ways you could do that. If you're just looking to buy spot BTC at a good price, then I would probably say, you know, somewhere starting at with that wick through this body here, something like that, down to the trend line, and just set orders, you know, whatever you're comfortable with. Say you had $1,000 and, you know, and you wanted to buy BTC, you could set 10 orders for $100, you know, and split in here, and that's a good way you get an average price of the zone. You know, it's kind of like trading in DCA and at the same time. So now as far as could we go up after that? Well, we go back here to the weekly. Say this does play out. Say that this is a falling wedge bull flag and that we're going to keep going up. you know, and I operate off the premise that we will rally and have another bull market somewhere thereabouts at the halving. I mean, that's what Bitcoin's done in its history. Trust me, I know there's lots of bearish news out there and all these kinds of things that you can point to. You know, I don't really listen to the news. I mean, I'm aware of it, of things that are going on, like when FOMOC happens and stuff like that. I'm not oblivious, but I really try not to listen to the news at all because most of it, I don't know. I mean, do what you think makes sense, but I don't really listen to the news too much. And I do think, you know, it's still like less than a year to the halving. That's a lot longer than what people think. You can go up a lot more and then still come back down. You can make new lows and then rally. Then there's a lot of things that can happen. But say we were going to hit this and go up, then what could we expect to see? Well, we talk about gaps, you know, and from here there's a gap from over here that you could look to maybe. If you take a fractal, and I did this on Danny the Bull's channel on a live stream, if you take a fractal from the last bear market rally in 2019 and you put it here to where this breakout happened, it takes you up here to about 50K. And I know that might sound crazy, and I'm not saying that we're going to go there, but I think it's a lot more likely than people would think. I already showed you the measured move from this head and shoulders. It takes you up there in that general area as well. I think also, though, something to consider, if you put a volume profile up here on all this price action that happened all along here last bull market, and it can change by exchange, but I believe on Binance, 36K is the strongest level. That's where the most price action occurred in Bitcoin's time, like during this whole time during the bull market. So that could be a hard level to get past, right here. And you see that's some good confluence with the bodies of these candles here. So if we get a push up, you know, 32, 33K is where these wicks are over here. And I do think it's likely that we could go up, because I feel this was the significant swing high. You know, we took that out, closed, and have held above it. This right here on the weekly, it's not really a significant swing high. I mean, it's an area of interest, but on the daily, I'm sure if you go on the daily, yeah, it's it's more pronounced and it's more of a swing high. But generally speaking, the higher the time frame, the more weight that it carries. So I've kind of looked at this as somewhat of a weak high, and that we've taken out the major high, and that it is possible we could continue up. And I'm going to make a video later on about the market cycle and the bottoms and previous market cycle data and all those kinds of things. I'll probably try to make that next week sometime. But anyway, I would say, if I had to say, if somebody put a gun to my head, I think that we may still, you know, come down here and do this, and that we may have another leg up, and that maybe we get up to around 36K. And that's just, you know, projecting out on big time frames can be tough. But anyway, that's some of the analysis I see on BTC right now. So let's check out Omi. And I stopped really posting much about Omi on Twitter and everything like that, because I got tired of just every time I said anything about Omi, all these people like that supposedly aren't in the project anymore, they just, I don't know, just always with the FUD or whatever. And I don't know, I just got tired of dealing with it, because it seems like on Twitter a lot of people are calling for 00040. I'm not sure where that number came from. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I was looking at 00050, and I think I may have told Sona this, because there was quite a few things pointing to that. Let me see, hopefully I remember I do these things right. What I was looking at, I believe it was a measure move off this zone was one of them. And then you get this breakout. So yeah, so right there at 50. I just want to point out that, you know, John, he put out a video a few days about Omi, and he's looking at a different chart than I am. He's looking at OKX. And the reason I look at Gate.io is because I live in the States, and Bit4X is my best option for a centralized exchange for Omi, and Gate.io seems to be the closest to Bit4X. And I had an order on Bit4X at 0.000517, I believe, and it did not quite go down that far on Bit4X. And this wick was quick. I mean, we're looking at the daily here, but if you look on the hourly, it's the same. Like, that wick got bought up very quick. So yeah, it would have been a nice move, would have been a nice pickup, especially since I was thought that was likely, that move. And some other things I had saw that gave me confluence. This is called a Fibonacci extension. There's not very many things that are leading indicators. Most things you hear the term lagging indicator, it means they're based off lagging price action. There's not very many things that project price out. So this is one of the few things that does that. And 61.8 level on the Fibonacci extension, and you see that's like right where the wick hit. And I don't think that's an accident. So that was another point of confluence. Also, I believe if we put the pivot points up here, that there was a pivot point down there in the area of that. So yes, this here, the S2 daily pivot point, and a little bit below 4.9. And I believe on the weekly there was one, like the S1 on the weekly was in this area also. And I even want to say there was another measured move that I saw in here. I think it was like from this range here, like if you count that as a range, like from these bottoms, and like saying that this was the range, like that. And then if we take that measured move, so a little lower, it's just below 5.0, and that's why I thought 517 was a good level, and especially with a lot of people looking at, I kept hearing 0040. Oops, I just removed the indicators. I didn't mean to do that. So I thought there could be orders in the high fours as well. But anyway, so where could Omi be going now? And that's the main question, right? Like what's it gonna do? Is it gonna keep going down? Is it gonna go up or whatever? Well, I said on Danny the Bull's live stream that, and it's like I mentioned a minute ago, this area got bought up so quick. I mean, that shows you that there is absolutely, demand there. Now, will it hold, or will it, sellers just keep selling and exhaust the buyers? We'll see. But I said that this wick, like maybe start from that red one, and then down here, that was a good place to buy. Like if I wanted to buy Omi, I would set orders all through here. And you see you get a decent bear candle closing in the zone, immediate reversal, and then since then wick, and now you're getting a little bit of a breakout candle. Let's see, depending on how you can draw these trend lines a lot of different ways, but it doesn't look like it's breaking out of a. I mean, you could kind of, I don't think it's really breaking out of anything with this trend line just yet. But the Fibonacci extension, you can use that the other way as well. So if we just say we did like this to here, 0.5 up here, kind of double topping around 7.0. I could see that potentially. Now, eventually, what I'd like to see with Omi is this. I'd like to see it break out of this like falling wedge in here. And if you use this as kind of a guide, well, what I say earlier about the wedge, 3 pushes down, 1, 2, and now you're getting a third. So you could even get down here and it could touch at the trend line back in the high fours, possibly. Right now, I mean, you haven't got to push into this zone. I mean, it really did get bought up quick. So if you think this could be a falling wedge, and this is on the weekly, so these things take a long time to play out, but if this could be a falling wedge, this really could be a low for Omi. It really could be, and it could range and then just kind of range itself out of this and just start channeling up. Doesn't mean that we couldn't get 40040 or lower prices down the road, but if it looks like Bitcoin could possibly keep going up a little bit, Omi could go back up and possibly double top here even. I know that seems like a hard thing to imagine right now, but this is crypto. These hard things that are imagined happen all the time, and that would be a 140% move from that wick. Now let's say we take it from where current price is and that we just got a double top up here to that high. That's still a 100% move. So you're looking at risk reward. I don't think that Omi is the worst buy, but that's up to your discretion. I might start trading Omi again. I've been messing with it a little bit lately, but you know, I really just get tired of the negative sentiment with the community. But I'll still put out some Omi videos and say what I think is going to happen. So anyway, overall on larger time frames on BTC and Omi, that's kind of how I see it playing out in the midterm. And I hope everyone got something out of it. And like I said, I'll put out that video about how I hit all those BTC trades next week. Thanks everybody. Later.